The Great Gloomsville Giggle Epidemic by Emily Natsu. Narrated by Elizabeth Berry. Chapter 1. Dear reader, I regret to inform you that the story you are about to embark upon is one of uncontrollable mirth, inexplicable mysteries, and a city gripped by a most peculiar epidemic. If you are hoping for a story of somber reflection or quiet contemplation, I strongly advise you to close this book immediately and seek out a more subdued narrative, perhaps one about the fascinating world of link collecting or the riveting history of beige paint. However, if you dare to continue, prepare yourself for a journey into the absurd, the bizarre, and the downright hilarious. Our story begins on a dreary Wednesday morning in the city of Gloomsville, a place that, despite its name, was about to experience a radical transformation. The sun had barely peeked over the horizon, casting long shadows across the cobblestone streets, when the first sign of the impending calamity made itself known in the most unlikely of places, Melancholy Meadows Cheese Emporium. Bartholomew Bree, the proprietor of this establishment and a man whose name, I must inform you, was not chosen by coincidence but rather by a twist of fate that would prove to be eerily prophetic, was in the midst of his morning ritual. This ritual, which he had performed without fail for the past 37 years, involved meticulously arranging wheels of cheese in perfect concentric circles on the shop's main display table. Little did Bartholomew know that this particular Wednesday would be the last time he would perform this task with his customary solemnity. As he lifted a particularly pungent wheel of Roquefort, a cheese that, if you are unfamiliar, smells remarkably like the inside of a well-worn gym sock left to ferment in a damp cave, something most peculiar occurred. The cheese, defying all laws of physics and common decency, let out what could only be described as a tiny giggle. Bartholomew, a man not known for his sense of humor or his propensity for auditory hallucinations, blinked in confusion. He leaned closer to the cheese, his rather prodigious nose, a family trait that had been passed down through generations of Brees, much like their affinity for dairy products, nearly touching the mottled surface of the Roquefort. "I beg your pardon," he whispered to the cheese, feeling rather foolish for addressing a dairy product but unable to shake the feeling that something most unusual had just transpired. In response, the cheese let out another giggle, this one slightly louder and unmistakably mischievous. Bartholomew, startled by this confirmation of his cheese's newfound vocalization skills, dropped the wheel onto the table with a soft thud. To his increasing alarm, this seemed to trigger a chain reaction. The Gouda began to guffaw, the cheddar started to chuckle, and the Brie.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?